Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring your boy, Shanks. Get ready for a very spicy deck list featuring OP09 here on the channel, let alone a leader in which I think a lot of people, including myself, are very excited for. This leader can be built numerous different ways. He isn't as straightforward as some decks out there, especially decks like Rob Lucci, Black Yellow Luffy, Blue Doflamingo. This leader can be built in a variety of different ways, so I hope you guys are excited for this one. Shanks, I've been cooking up. Today we are going to be looking at a control build versus an aggro build and see what I prefer more. And of course, I do like the control aspect, so if you guys are interested in something like this, leave your thoughts and your opinions down in the comments below as you normally do. My list should be different than yours. If there's something out there that you think I should try when it comes to Shanks, let me know. And of course, in the Discord, you know where to find me. Now, let me cook, because I have a lot of stuff to talk about, why I'm bringing certain cards, and how it's doing. So we are going to dive into a bunch of games today as we normally do. But without further ado, let's dive into this deck list and see what we got going on here. Now, if you guys remember, we haven't had a dominant red deck since Newgate. I'm not saying that Shanks is going to dominate the meta, of course, but he is going to put red in a better spot than it was before. And since Newgate, we haven't seen anything from red decks, right? We've seen a couple decks when it comes to Marco here and there, or Bello Betty here and there, or Sabo. And we're talking about the newer Sabo, which is interesting, because other than that, a lot of these other decks haven't done too much. Zoro finally cropped back up in OP08 when he gained access to a bunch of his zoo cards. So Zoro is still around. He's still doing great. But being in OP09 now, we've gained access to Shanks. What does he bring to the table? Shanks brings a lot of board control, a lot of aggro presence. So I do hope you guys are going to have fun with this one as much as I do. Let's get into this list. In today's build, we are going to be cooking up 10 2K counters, 4 Lime Juice, 4 Hongo, and then 2 Otama. Of course, you can go up to 12 by maxing out on Otama. I decided not to do that just because I didn't really have space for what I wanted to utilize in the set. Now, with that being said, some of our 2Ks like Otama, Hongo, and Lime Juice, all of them really, have very good on-play effects, or activate mains. A lot of these characters you will be playing on board to get an effect off to make sure you can get a damage in or do something in the matchup, such as Lime Juice. Why would this effect be beneficial to you in any means? You know, Teach, for example, is a 12k blocker, right? Hypothetically speaking. And he's a very scary card. One of the best cards in the game right now, printed, and he's leader locked, but he's a 12k body. So Lime Juice isn't really going to get around that. This is a situational card that I've come to learn is very strong against yellow decks. And why is that? You have cards out there like Shirahoshi, and I think everybody and their brother know how good this card can be, especially up against a black deck. Whereas if they decide to KO this by an effect, they get the heal a life. While with Hongo, all you have to do is throw this man on board and they can't activate blocker whatsoever. So in those matchups when you're playing against a Nell, and he decides to slap down Shirahoshi to try to protect his last life, he can't activate blocker. As long as you guys can hit a blocker that's 4,000 power or less, you can get around those and your opponent can't activate any of them, which is really good. Now, 4,000 isn't too much, right? But with Shanks, you have multiple different ways of playing down Rayleigh prior to this, right? Getting them set up with Lime Juice, or going ahead and using a Building Snake or a Hongo to make sure this can hit the target it needs to hit. I think this card is pretty strong, and I think it's probably overlooked, but this is just a way I've been utilizing it or trying to utilize it in some of my matchups here. And speaking of Hongo, activate main. Sometimes you do play this on board, depending on the situation. I want to say it comes up more for me when I'm utilizing things like Ben Beckman or Newgate. Now, both of these have very strong effects. Newgate, of course, came out in the structure deck that helped out Newgate and Marco. He's going to be a staple for most red decks in today's format, and in this deck particularly, he's very strong for what it allows you to do. Again, he's hitting a character that's 5,000 power or less, he's an activate main instead of on play, and it allows you to remove blockers on board or bigger threats. Of course, you can activate Hongo, Building Snake, or, again, Let Me Cook, Round Table. I've been wanting to make a red deck that utilizes this card for a long time. And the last time that I've done that was when Newgate was a relevant deck for red. Because you had an opportunity of using Round Table with a Newgate deck on top of your 9-drop Newgate, right? This was allowing you to clear things like Big Mom, because yellow decks were the dominant one at the time, opposed to Newgate. So being able to just remove Big Mom, the Katakuri drops, and Yamato off a Round Table and swing it in with Newgate was pretty spooky. So I try to make the same concept here, but a little bit more consistent. Considering this is a 7 cost, it doesn't have to attack, it has to activate main button. So you can go ahead and have this on board, drop a Round Table, kill anything in the game, which is great. Or, hear me out, we're at 46 out of 51. So I want to go ahead and show you guys some of the other spicy variations that I've added to this list. Let me cook. 2 Nico Robins, 3 Fire Fist. Why are we doing this? As you know, Blue Doflamingo has picked up in popularity. He's at your locals, my locals, your brother's locals, he's everywhere. And sometimes going wide is very, very strong against pretty much every deck in the format, let's be honest. And the way that I decided to deal with it is board control, right? If you're a black deck, you're board controlling. If you're a red deck, as Shanks, you could also board control. So Nico Robin, Fire Fist, your Newgates here, Beckman. This allows you to control board against decks like Doflamingo, especially in the early stages. Being able to get a Nico Robin down on board, he can't really deal with this unless he decides to play Law down, the 4-drop Law, which has to force him to choose Nico Robin to bounce back to your hand, which is okay, because going into the following turn, this gives you access to dropping something like Yasop on board, and being a 6k body, make your leader a 6k. When Dofi attacks you, he goes from 7k to 6k, right? So now you're 6, then you have to give him 1k counter. This gets to stay on board, because he already activated the Law, which is really, really good. But, at the same time, if you're able to allow this to stick on board, and you have, again, Hongo or Building Snake, she can attack into, like, Jinbei, for example, then pop something else, right? So she does have use here. Of course, we are running 2. Usually I like to up the cost, up the ratio of these by dropping Rayleigh. But it's going to depend on your local scene, and, of course, how you guys feel about the card. Considering the deck, the way I'm playing it, it doesn't have a lot of space for what I want to do here. So if I want to add in more copies of something, I'm typically going to drop Rayleigh. I know that's crazy, but Rayleigh isn't searchable, nor is Robin, of course, but often not when I want to get a blocker, I'm drawing Rux, right? Rux is getting picked out from Uta, or I'm starting this with my opening hand, because you are going to be playing against a bunch of aggressive decks like Doflamingo, or, what's her name? Nico Robin for the new yellow-purple. Decks like this, they go fast. Bello Betty is also going to be here, so having these earlier blockers opposed to Rayleigh, often not, Rayleigh doesn't get a lot of value. Now, there are times for 5 Dawn that you can play Rayleigh, you can draw 2 and trash 1, but more so I'm playing down Yasop to allow me to be a 6k to protect myself in a lot of these aggro decks. But, if you guys want to remove this, you guys still have some wiggle room in the deck. If you don't like this card and I gain a lot of value with it, feel free. I think he's great, but I'm not getting his on-play ability off as much as I want it to. That's just my personal experiences so far. I, of course, going to differ from you. Each their own. Now, speaking of Rayleigh, we did include Rayleigh from OP09 here, which is very, very strong in Shanks. I think this is going to be a staple card going forward for most red decks as well. This allows you to get that minus 2,000 power and then minus 3,000 power on something, and it stays on your opponent's characters for the following turn, and it allows you to kill one character of 3,000 power or less, which is quite strong. Being able to chain Rayleigh into a Shanks or into a Newgate if you don't have Shanks and popping something is pretty strong. There are often not where you can go into a Rayleigh and then play a Ben Beckman the following turn to kill anything on board. This card is just really, really good against the aggro matchup. So against Zoro, against decks like Yamato, any deck that builds wide very early or gets a lot of triggers on board, this can deal with it. There have been opportunities to play this down against a Kagura. So, I mean, At the end of the day, this is going to be a very, very strong card for Shanks as well. And speaking of Shanks, you guys are going to be going anywhere between 3 to 4 in each deck, each list that you build. We are running 3 and 1 Roger, but this is just a me thing. It's personal preference. If you don't want to run Roger, of course, you can add in the 4th Shanks. Both of these have their uses. Shanks, on the other hand, is similar to Foxy, whereas it minuses 1000 power for all characters, let alone it's a rush card too. I think this one here and the 10 cost Blackbeard, both of these cards are phenomenal. If you're able to stack back to back, most of the time you win the game. This is 1000 power minus on top of your leader ability if your opponent decides to attack you, and then it also has a 12k rush. This is a very spooky card to deal with. So I mean, at the end of the day, I do believe that you guys, this is one of your win conditions, if I do say so. But without that, we'll talk about the elephant in the room, and that's Fire Fist. And then we'll dive into a bunch of games today. Fire Fist, the reason why we are utilizing this here is because of 2 matchups. And for me, that's going to be Jewelry Bonnie, or sorry, 3 matchups. I typically don't see a lot of Kagura at locals, but I try to tech for decks that can build wide quickly, and this is just another one out there. And I wanted to answer for decks that can go wide. So decks like Jewelry Bonnie, Doflamingo, Bello Betty, this really helps you out in that format. This allows you to remove 2 bodies on board and slow down the deck, right? This is something you guys have to pay attention to going forward. Of course, you don't have to use this. I'm not saying this is going to be like best in slot or a staple card for Shanks. This is just a really good event that allows you to control board. So do keep that in mind. And then, of course, we are using 2 of these. I'm not going to bother with the name, but it's a 2 cost, allows you to get a draw off the trigger, and allows you to set up for plays for things like Nico Robin and your Newgate, while popping a character on board. So, hey, it's a win-win-win. Let's get into it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into a bunch of games today. Coming at you guys with Shanks, playing into Blue Doflamingo. Unfortunately, our first game, we tried to play against a Lim, but apparently she didn't want anything to do with me. So, it be what it be. We'll start off with another very, very strong and or favorable meta deck, such as Dofi here, and see what we can cook up. Now, I'll tell you, I haven't had this much fun with a red deck in a very, very long time. I guess since Newgate. So, this really has me excited for OP09. And I didn't think I would enjoy Shanks this much as I do Blackbeard right now, but this leader is very, very fun to play. Like I said, it can be built in multiple different ways, and that's really what I like. I don't know if playing Blackbeard is going to, be a little bit boring from time to time, because we don't have that many cards right now. It's OP10. But Shanks, let me tell you, aggro, control, he's doing great. Up against this matchup where we're playing against Doflamingo, where he builds wide, there's so many different plays that we can do. So first of all, we are going to attack him for 6. Normally, I like to try to control board first, but in this situation, I'm not going to pass turn without attacking him. We're going to play down Rux, and hopefully, we can get rid of this lull. I think he is key to a lot of matchups in which your opponent can go wide. He allows you to remove other characters on board. So in a situation like this, of course, Dofi's going to have something that he's going to play down with his leader ability. Great, cool. We can activate Shanks, right? And we can target one of his other characters here, not necessarily Doflamingo, because he's going to be a 7, or depending on how much Dawn he attaches there, it's not going to matter. But being able to force him to put Dawn on some of the other characters prior to attacking makes him have to think about his plays here. Because a lot of stuff he plays on board in the early game to mid game is like 4 cost to 5 cost, so. And you already got to consider that 3 of those Dawn are going to be used for his leader ability. We can activate this, which is cool because his ability is free. We don't have to discard any cards. We can just choose one character and just let it go. So that's one attack we don't have to take. The 7 here, it's fine. I don't really mind too much. And then of course we have to take either a 7 or discard cards here to protect it. He gets a Boa, which I think he did this backwards, right? Because he wanted to play down the Perona. Okay, I guess he can attach down to Dofi. That's fine. I'll block out here. When we block, we're going to go ahead and kill the Boa, because I don't want to have to deal with the blocker. Of course, we can get rid of one of the attackers, but the Boa being a 6 is already a problem, especially when we're going to be playing on curve. And most of the time, you always have something to play from your hand with Shanks. We did just draw another Beckman, which is really good. We had one in hand already, but we can go ahead and pop the Law. And force him to... This can't be targeted by a Gravity Blade, by the way. So, being a 7 and having an effect such as trash something at 6,000 power or less, this is why I think Beckman is very, very good against decks like Blue or decks that can go wide very, very quickly. They don't have a response to this other than getting into the late game or red rocking me. There's another Boa, unfortunately. So they get the search off here and the organization. 5 Dawn open. Let's go ahead and give it the minus cost. I don't really want to take all of these hits, but I think he's going to play something down here from hand. So we'll go ahead and give Jimmy the minus, and we can take the hit here from this one. I don't like going anywhere... Well, I guess 2 life is my normal. I'm okay with taking some hits when it comes to blue decks, but 2 life is generally where I like to stay at. Because they have access to like the perfume and things like that. He has to attach more Dawn than Jinbei here. Because that's 5, right? 4 Dawn open. That's enough for putting another Jinbei, a Weevil, so many things. Yep. That pudding was really good. So now our hand sucks. I mean, it's not the worst, but it definitely is not as good as what we had before. We had so many more cards. We'll take another Beckman here. That was top deck luck. We'll kill this. 4 in hand. I don't really want to give him cards, so let's see if we can get this Jinbei. I won't put it on him, actually. Let's go 7 into him first. So that's removed. We'll go 5 lead. And then I'll play down a snake on board here. Just in case we can get another Beckman or a Newgate in the following turn. We're still probably going to play Shanks, but it's just a setup for later. And like I said, the only thing that he can do to these Beckmans is attack into them heavily, because we're 7k, or red rock me. There's a Law, which I would assume he would kick up Perona to hand. And I don't think he wants to give me back like a Uta or anything. I guess Building Snake could go back, I suppose. Which isn't too bad. Yep. Fair. Actually, we'll use Leader ability. Oh wait, he did that on Pudding. That's fine. This works out too. I forgot where he did that. So now he has to go ahead and attach down the Pudding to be able to hit anything. Oh, you're going for it. Okay, that's fine. Get a Hongo. Interesting. Another Perona. He did already have it set up, because you remember the Boa. But I would think you'd want to put the Perona there first, unless you just wanted to get the Law, and then see one more card. I don't know. Kind of a weird play. I think I would have done Perona first. He did get it back to his hand for free with the Law effect, but still. And at this point, being 4 cards in hands for Doflamingo, and I have a board state such as this where he can't touch me other than Red Rock, I think we should just clear board the whole way through. Instead of giving him cards for free, you know what I mean? We get board first and then we go face. Spooky, man. Alright. We're looking good. He's got to do something about this or he'll lose, right? There's a Red Rock. I probably gave that to him off life, or maybe he was just holding on to it. We have another Shanks, so it's okay. I think we have to... Yeah, we have to use our effect here. Which sucks, but it be what it be. We'll take this hit. And now he'll go to 6. Then we give him a 2k counter. The moment we take this last life, we lose the game, right? Okay. We know they don't play with any rush cards. I guess it's a possibility for them to run Usopp, but I doubt it. Even so, we are going to play it safe. Yep. And he has to guard these hits. Okay. I mean, I'll take the hand. That's fine. Well played, buddy. Well played. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into another one. Coming at you guys with Shanks playing into Nico Robin. I don't know how fast these games are going to be, considering we are playing a kind of an aggro list. But we'll probably get in maybe 4 to 6 games, somewhere around there. And see what we can do. Now, I do know in this matchup, she can be quite aggressive, and her triggers can vary, right? But often not. Unlike Katakuri, she can't really use as many triggers in this deck without dipping into purple. So I'm not too worried about attacking into life early. What I am worried about not having enough blockers here. We did get Rux, which is fine, right? So we do have a blocker for next turn, because she decided to go first, which is cool. But if we can't get any more than Rux here, we are probably going to get cooked. As long as she can stabilize and play things like Yamato, cool, we got Rayleigh. But things like Yamato and Ace, we're going to have a hard time. But we were able to get down a Snake in the opener, and we'd have Round Table in hand with a Rayleigh, or sorry, with a Beckman. So we should be okay. This matchup can be tough for you, depending on how you decide to take your opening hand into it. Let's get a blocker on board with this pass turn up. Rux really helps you out in this matchup because she plays a lot of triggers down. And she plays a lot of small bodies that do have blocker. You know what I mean? Being able to play down Rux to get rid of things like the Bond Clays for the ramp up. Or your Souls. Things of that nature that aren't really necessarily a threat. But they are a threat considering they can just copy like Teach's power, Shanks' power. And on top of already having Banish for your leader, this deck can turn very, very spooky very, very quickly. They also use Nico Robin, the 6-drop, that can rip life. So, sometimes it doesn't feel as fast until they start doing things, which is very fast when it comes to Nico Robin. Again, 8k to 9k each and every turn. It's a lot of cards out of hand. It's kind of similar to Yamato, a little bit, except for it does 1 damage and has Banish. In which, if we block here with Rux, we can get rid of Soul, and then we are able to do damage next turn. So they'll get Arrested Dawn by ramping. Doing the minus effect doesn't really matter here, so we'll go ahead and block out with Rux, and we'll get rid of the Soul. Next turn we go up to 6 Dawn. So we have an opportunity of playing, okay, a Rayleigh down. And going 6 with lead here. Because they're at 5. Huh. I guess we should attack first, right? Because if we play this down, they get a Nami off trigger. Rip. As long as it's not like draw extra cards like Bonnie or Shirahoshi and stuff here, we should be alright. Okay, there's a Frankie. They've already discarded a lot of counters in hands to get the Dawn, right? So that's less counters that we have to deal with. Now we're just worried about bodies getting on board from life. 5 face. We'll go ahead and do the thing. I think some people forget about this ability. And or she's probably going to play a big body here, such as like Yamato or Katakuri. Because they have to remove my Rayleigh. I see what they're doing. I mean, I'm a 6k body on board. They definitely are going to play Yamato. Yep. They don't get the heal, but they get the pop. And we have ways of removing it. Minus 3,000 power. We play down Beckham. And bye-bye. Then we go 6 lead. They have 4 cards left and no way of removing Beckham here unless they are playing with Kingdom Come. No trigger, please. Okay, Nico Robin. Interesting. I'm not sure what 3-drop trigger though they should be playing in this situation. I guess a Soul. Okay. I don't have Rush or anything. Interesting. Not sure. Maybe they thought that card gave like 3,000 power into your opponent's turn. I don't know. I think this game's over at this point. We were able to control board this entire time. We got rid of Yamato here. Cool. They've got Gum Gum Giant, Gedetsu, and another Soul in hand. We get a Roger and a Shanks on the next draw. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, coming at you guys again with Shanks playing into Crocodile here. Purple-yellow, actually, which is interesting. And speaking of which, we will be diving back into some more games today. Hopefully, if I can find some against Nico Robin. Now, the reason being is I feel like Nico Robin is going to be one of those decks that a lot of people are going to want to see and or get build lists for and play in OP09. She is going to be very, very fun. Unfortunately for her, we got the hand choice. We had a bunch of blockers and stuff in the early game. That's kind of what you want to aim for. You kind of treat the matchup like you would be playing against Yamato a little bit, because you don't want her to get off too many attacks and get cards banished from your life. But each their own. Anyway, we'll see what Crocodile can do. He has gained some new cards going into this setup as well. Purple and yellow cards, of course. Being more ramp and playing with the Nico Robin himself. So that's pretty strong. But I don't think he'll be a meta deck still. I think he's still missing quite a bit of cards here. Being able to get Baroque Work stuff from some of the cross guild cards and all that sort of thing. They're blue. He's, makes sense. Kind of weird to see a Hiyori on turn 1 here. It kind of gives me the impression that they want to play down like a Kikinojo or something, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know if that was worth it. A little weird, but okay. Sure. We could have just went 5, but I'd rather get down Nico Robin here in the situation because he does play with Shirahoshi blockers and Bonclays. Yep. And this just gives me an easy opportunity of popping things with Robin, so it's pretty good. You're going to learn today. I don't think you would be using anything else with Tudon unless you're playing down another Hiyori. Okay. Alright. Shirahoshi really, really early. Sure. We could pop it right away with Robin. But I think it's probably better just to get rid of the Bonclay. Because we're at, what, 5 Dawn? Not bad. We get a Shanks off the draw. Yeah, let's go and pop Bonclay. We'll go 5 lead. Actually, yeah, that's fine. We'll get rid of that. The cool thing about this is he's already at 3 cards in hand and 3 life. He set himself back quite a bit using the early Hiyori here. Yep. We'll 5 again. We're going to set up with another Nico Robin just to have 2 on board, because I will assume he's going to attack into the one that we have rested here. He takes both hits. I believe this game's over. I don't think he can come back from this. I mean, he ramped quite well. He got the Bonclay. He saw a ramp with the trigger off the Hiyori effect. Or Miss Double Finger, not the trigger. You know what I mean. I want to force him to attack into it. And then we can just minus his power again with Shanks. Or give the 2k, it doesn't really matter here. Alright. So we have Beckham. I can't pop this, unfortunately. Perhaps if we had played Hongo? No, because he has to be 6,000 power. Huh. Yeah, we couldn't pop him anyway. So, what is that card called? Okamawe. Yeah. I have to be mindful of that here. Okay, so we'll pop this for now. We'll go 7. He took the couple 5k hits last time, which tells us he didn't have very many counter cards, or he just decided to take the triggers off life and was hoping it was going to be something relevant. Because now he just either blocks with the Shirahoshi or takes the damage here. And we still have 2 extra attacks that we can go 7k with. Or we can do 3-5-5. Oh, sorry. We can do a 7K swing with Shanks. And then go 6th Robin. Or we can do Uta, Robin, and Shanks. Which is probably better. Okay. Gets the Veggie off the trigger. Unfortunate for us. We're going to save the Shirahoshi on board. We're not going to pop it with Robin's ability. Just because we're close to going to 10 Dawn with Roger, right? And if we put him on 0 life, we can just drop Roger and then force him to block with Shirahoshi and just try to go for game that way. It might be risky, but we can try it out. Trying to get as many cards out of his hand as possible before we do that. And he doesn't have enough for Yamato next turn. Okay, never mind. Fair. 7, 8, 9. Yeah. He doesn't have enough for Yamato here. So he can't heal up. We'll go 4 into 2. That's cool. Sorry if you guys can hear the plane outside. We'll go here. He needs to clear this board, though. Good. He's got 5 left. Another ramp. You got it. Not bad. Not bad. We get a Rux off that, so it's pretty decent. I mean, we could go for game here. I could play down Lime Juice and just make it where Shirahoshi cannot block. And then go for game that way. But in case he has an Okama way. We could attempt that. Because we have Goldie Roger for next turn. We can play Rux here as well, and then pop something else on board. But this in itself is pretty strong. But I would think he has an Okama way. Let's risk it. I mean, if he doesn't, we win the game, so. It's 10. He has 3 in hand. Let's poke first. Let's just poke first. Let's play it smart. We'll go 5. I mean, it might have been better to just stack all Dawn on Shanks and try to go for it, but again, if he does have an Okama way, he probably would redirect it into something else on board, and we wouldn't have enough Dawn to swing with Uta. So there's a Yamato. So he did have a Yamato. It gives me a 2K counter. He still has the Dawn up. So, we tried. There's 1 in trash. Does he have another one? He does have another one. Or Blast Breath. Yep. Fair. Alright. That's fine. That's cool. At least we know 2 of them have been used. And he has 2 cards in hand here. So. I don't necessarily mind. We can take a couple hits here. Actually, we can kind of take all these hits. We have to win. We don't have to win next game, I guess, or next turn. Yeah, we actually do. I think we have to win next turn. Roger should be able to secure it for me. Because if he puts me on 0 life here, we have the game. Okay. Now you got it, buddy. And then he has enough Dawn to attach to Mr. 2 and try to go for game if he wants to put me on 0. Yeah, let's use it. There's not really a reason otherwise. Get an Uta. 2 Dawn up. This is really risky. It is. It's really risky. We could split the attacks off, right? and just go with Shanks and Lime Juice. But considering he's on 0 and he can't block, if he blocks, he loses the game. Okay. Yep. That's a discard for the crocodile effect. Nice. Well played, man. That was pretty good. That was a little bit of a stressful match, I'm not gonna lie to you. A little bit more than I wanted it to be. Okama Way seems to be pretty good. Thankfully, we only have to deal with it in Crocodile, so. But I guess if he had one more in that scenario, he would have probably won the game the following turn. Because we had a lot of big bodies in hand with not a lot of counters, so. Just one of those situations. We did really well, though. Let's go 5. This might be a better opportunity for us here, because now we have Robin on board early against Robin. And she plays a lot of cheap blockers, so we can kind of get rid of those. 6 lead. She knows that we got Yasop off the search, so we'll give him the 1k off of this. We have another one, so it's okay. Jewelry Bonnie. Interesting. I like that. But I have to get rid of it. As much as I just want to play Yasop on curve, next turn she's going to get a damage in if she decides to stack, right? She puts one down on Bonnie and then stacks big on Robin and goes huge to get the draw off. So we have to get rid of this. Let's go 5. We'll pop that. We'll force cards from hands. Okay, or she takes a life. We'll go 6 lead. Give me the 2k. Nice. Imagine setting up and running into a Nico Robin and when she didn't expect it. It's pretty good. We'll use our ability here and we'll give you the extra 1k. I'll keep the Beckham for now. Nice. That card is so good. We get a round table here. I'm trying to think. I don't think we want to round table this. Let's just play him down to trash it. We'll get 2 attacks in. Luffy. Huh. I did not see that coming, actually. Luffy and Robin. Interesting. Maybe that's pretty good. I don't know. Go 7 lead. Minus there. Another round table trash, which isn't too bad. Okay, Sanji. Well, this is gonna hurt. Because this is a guaranteed damage, basically. Because we don't have the counter in hand here. But at least we get a card, though. Okay. Let me think, hold on. Activate. Minus 2k, be at 5. Get Newgate down, rest that, pop that. And we're at 9 Dawn. Yeah. We're chilling. This will work out. So we get Newgate down. We'll give the rested Dawn to Robin. So Robin can pop the law. Yep. Activate this, minus 2k, rest Newgate, pop Sanji. Control, man. It's pretty good. Force card out of her hand, and we'll get rid of that. Nice. 4 left. And I guess we just go 7-7. No trigger. Cool. That was pretty good, boys. That was pretty good. We're still at 2 life here. So nothing she can do, I guess, would allow her to win the game right now. Unless she's running with ace, right? I'll give you the 2k. Okay, Sanji. good game. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably go ahead and play one more game after this one, then we'll dive back into the deck list. I will probably be playing this game, or not this game, this leader off stream, off recording here today as well. I'm very much enjoying Shanks, and I do think I will come back to him when I tweak my list a little bit more, and or I dive into a more aggressive build for this leader. He's very, very fun to play. But, in any case, we are playing Shanks into the mirror. And I've learned that playing this matchup, I have to try to see what my opponent is playing. Whether or not he's going to be a control deck, or he's going to be more of an aggro base. It's going to dictate how I go about playing this matchup. I have noticed that if I can establish the 10-drop Shanks on curve with a healthy board state, I typically win the game. Not all of the time, but almost all of the time. Let's go attacking here. As much as I wanted to play down Uta, if I play Uta, then I go ahead and play Beckham, or sorry, Rayleigh on board. I can't swing in for 5 because his leader ability. But now he goes up to 7, and he's able to clap this if he does have Beckham. He does, which is fine, but he can't hit me. And we have the means to remove this one as well, with the Otama and the Newgate. Yep. I won't be able to attack here. Unless you forgot Newgate's passive ability, or sorry, on play ability, which gives me the rest of Dawn. So it's pretty good cleanup here. Because now we can force a 2k from hand. And then we go into next turn with 9 Dawn. Or sorry, yeah, 9 Dawn for us. Not bad, not bad. I don't know why I said 9 Dawn. Math is hard for me right now. So there's Rayleigh. I think it will have trouble clearing out Shanks here, considering Shanks is that 12k body. And speaking of which, if you notice, in the late game, once you get Shanks on board, a Fire Fist will clear board a lot easier, considering we do have one in hand, but we don't have an event to throw away. But considering Shanks is on board, he gives that extra minus 1000, which allows Fire Fist to hit a lot more targets. So those 6k base bodies, without the proper reduction, you can't hit them. Well, Shanks automatically gives it to you passively, which is nice. And being able to stack multiple Shanks means bigger board wipes. Alright. He actually has to commit to this if he wants to remove it. The boy's got a whole book in hand. So I'm hoping he has an answer here. If he can do minus 6,000, right? Because he can play the event, the 2-cost event that minuses 3k. And then he'll be at 8 Dawn. I don't think... Maybe play down a silver. Or sorry, not silver, but a snake at that point. Which minuses by another 3,000. And then he has 7 Dawn left to play Beckham. Then he could pop Shanks. Or he can go 16k. Okay, alright. We have to guard out. If he had given me one more Dawn, that would have been great, because then his leader can attack here, but still. Let's pop this. Minus 4. I think the better thing would be just attacking into it just to remove it. Because having that board control here is a little bit better than allowing him to keep Rayleigh on board. Because this means the next turn he would just run Rayleigh back in the Shanks. Nice. And then we'll play down our blocker for 4. We get a Rad Beam. That was actually pretty good, because he was able to minus Shanks by 1,000 and giving us less cards in hand. I think his leader ability is quite strong. Interesting. I would think you would attack first, especially if you're going to try to clear our Shanks on board. I think you would have to attack first before you play a character down. Just because we can block and pop whatever character you decided to play this turn with Rux. There's no way you go into me here. Fair. I think he realized it, actually. Huh. I mean, I guess he still couldn't have attacked me. Yeah, he couldn't have hit me anyway. He didn't have the Dawn left. That's fair. We have to attach Dawn if we want to attack with Rux. Or we can play down Shanks and do Shanks things. Because this is 2 12k swings, 1 from lead, in which leader cannot hit. We go 5. He minuses 1 off our leader, right? Yep. No. Okay. Cool. I don't necessarily mind this now, because if we attack with our Shanks, he blocks and then pops our Rux. And then our Rux pops his activate main. Alright, he's taking both of these hits. Okay. We get a 1k counter. Or a 2k. I'll take those. Like I said, man, Shanks is so good. It's kind of similar to Foxy, except for, in this case, he's a 10-drop. It makes him a little bit harder to remove for a lot of decks in the format. Roger. Alright. I guess he didn't realize that Shanks gives you minus 2,000 power here, because they have 2 on board. Before he decided to attack. Maybe he got overzealous, a little excited. It's a little weird to me. We'll take this hit. And we get a Fire Fist. We can pop Rux. Rux can pop our Rux, and then our Rux can pop his Hongo. I think if you actually wanted to do this back, you would pop Hongo first to give the minus power reduction to my Shanks, and then attack Roger into him. But I think he thought that he was 13k coming at me. Even still, 13 to 12, a little weird. Weird of a play, buddy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last game of the day. I do hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun with this one, and I will be diving back into Shanks relatively very soon in the future. Without further ado, we are playing Shanks into a blue deck with Boa Hancock, which we might see here coming back up in OP09 with some of the newer cards and cross guild and stuff. She can utilize some of them as well. So, blue deck, she does have means to him. Doesn't mean she's going to, but we'll see. Interesting. Let's just go 5 and 5 here. This matchup is not as difficult as Doflamingo, but both matchups are still doable, and she can have a difficult time with me if she doesn't have removal for our big bodies on board. One of the better things here in this situation is that Doflamingo doesn't normally utilize a lot of gravity blades, whereas Boa can. But a lot of our big bodies she cannot hit unless she has red rocks. So you can go ahead and do that. That's fine. I'm surprised we got a 2k out of that, by the way. She gave me the 2 for the 5, which is wild to me. 4 Dawn open. Probably a Jinbei and a combo of something else. I don't see. Okay. Alright. 7 in hand, you can't play anything. I don't remember if she decided to keep this hand or not, actually. But that's fine. We'll go to 6. We'll go 6 to lead. This Yasup, by the way, is very, very strong. At face value, you know, you see his 5 to a 6, but his on-play effect is really what matters. Becoming a 6k body, allowing you to minus 1,000 from your opponent's leader swing or a character on board when they attack you. You sometimes turn that 5k into a 4 when you're a 6. Which is wild. Sure. Like right now. It's just so good. It really is. It's really, really good. Unfortunately, he can attack, and I don't have means of popping her right now without any setup on board. Which does suck. We do have Beckham to drop, but I cannot kill her. I need Hongo or another minus cost reduction or minus damage reduction. So instead, let's do this. Let's go 9 lead, and then we'll play a Hongo after that. And this will force her to either play down another character on board, like Jinbei, another combination here, or have to Gravity Blade. Because if she doesn't Gravity Blade, we definitely have the means of removing her next turn. Or anything else she decides to put on board here. Yep, fair. Alright. Yep. I don't want to take both hits. Boa I have to hit. I have to take from, right? The 6 drop. This I can give the 2k counter. And she definitely swings here. Yep, sure. We get an Uta. That building snake though. That's pretty good. Now we can kill this. And go 6 lead. What did you do? Another 2k counter. I imagine they have a bunch of counter in hand with the amount of cards they have. It's just interesting. That one turn where they had up 4 Dawn, they didn't play a character. There's no way they forgot. So I'm guessing they didn't have a Jinbei in hand or anything to utilize that 4 Dawn that turn. Also, Boa's leader ability hasn't been activated at all yet, so... -1. You should have learned this by now. You have to attach a Dawn before you swing. Unless you're using that 4 to play another card this time. So there's Jinbei. Into Law. Alright. So we got a 2k out of a hand there, by the way, without having to attack, which is great. We just play Shanks down, we go 5 lead. We force another counter from hand. Sure. This should be guaranteed. Alright. So having Shanks on board makes her have to commit Dawn to her characters to be able to hit me. So this has to be removed as soon as possible. She did have the red rock. That's totally okay. Four left to play around with. This is guaranteed. We can -1 on Jinbei or Law. If we minus the Law, Law's surely not going to be able to attack us, I don't think. But she still has to commit Dawn to him anyway. So I don't necessarily think that matters all too much. This means she has to attach 2 Dawn to Jinbei to make it a 6. So 3 safe to force more cards out of my hand. And then she only has 1 Dawn left to play around with at that point. Or she's going to do this, so that's interesting. Let's take the hit. Okay. I'm not sure, like, okay. Alright. I would think having the bodies on board there was the better case, or the better call, but I'll take that. Especially at this stage in the game, right? 6 lead. We have to guard. Not necessarily, but it's better to guard here. Because the Boa is going to hit me next turn. Then after that, if we decide to take this hit, and she has means to perfume me, we just lose. Okay. Start off small. She definitely guards this out, otherwise she will lose. That's 3 Jinbeis, and you're telling me you didn't have a single Jinbei on that 4 Dawn turn. That's crazy. Let's get Shanks down. This is probably really risky, but we gotta go for it. Another red rock. Great. I mean, it's not so bad because we still have Roger, but still. So you either go 7-7, There you go. Oh, she's going for Beckham, isn't she? Oh, wow. You're going to learn today. That just seems awfully silly. 5 leads, sure. You have 5 in hand. It might be risky to play down Goldie Roger, just go for game that way. It might be risky. So hypothetically, she blocks out the 5, then has 3k to block out Beckham. You know what I mean? And then Goldie Roger just gets the damage through, and then she wins next turn. She has 2 bodies on board. If we ignore the Jinbei here, we lose the game. And then we play it on a blocker of our own. Nice. I know this isn't the cool way to win, you know, but I don't think we could have played down Roger and then just smacked the Beckham lead in Roger and won the game there. Not with 5 cards in hand, her getting 6 off the trigger, or off the life. I don't think it was possible. But I don't know the hand, so I could be wrong. She did have Mihawk in there, unless she got that off of the draw here. So that's 1 no counter card, but risky. There's not really a point of us using our leader skill. I'm just trying to think out how else we're going to be able to win this match next turn. We'll give you the 2k. I don't think I can go to 0 here. I'm getting Newgate. 4 in hand, 1 life left. I guess we just go 10-10. I think Roger's a little risky here. You guys at the comments are probably screaming at me. But we'll do it this way instead. If she has it, she has it, alright? Goodness. And good game. Ah, interesting. Luffy. I like it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the end of the video, in which today we played around with Shanks. I had a lot of fun with this leader, and I know this is going to be a fan favorite for a lot of people out there. So if you are interested in playing this leader, I do hope this build was a good one for you. If not, if there's something else I should try with Shanks, please let me know, because I will be diving back into multiple different deck lists for this guy, because he does have a lot of different ways that he can be built. And today we played around with the control aspect with Shanks, utilizing Nico Robin, playing around with Fire Fist, and this event, which too long of a name. I do often enjoy using this card, and I think it makes a really, really good home here, especially if you guys are able to establish your big bodies like Shanks, giving that minus cost reduction, or sorry, minus power reduction board wide. It allows your Fire Fist to hit a lot more targets, let alone this card is very, very good in decks that allow them to go wide very, very quickly. So decks like Ludo Flamingo, for example, Jewelry Bonnie, any deck that can just slap a lot of bodies on board, this is really, really good to play into. Of course, you need events to be able to do that. So, if you guys think you can build this list and make it a little bit more event heavy to utilize Fire Fist a little bit more, go for it. I just want to make sure I have enough counter in Shanks, let alone enough big bodies to go for game. Beckham, Shanks, of course, and Goldie Roger on top of Rayleigh really allow this deck to just clear a lot of today's metagame. Now, there is a card in this list which did not perform in a way in which I wanted it to, and that is going to be the 5-cost blocker here. I think I touched on this a little bit in the opening of the video when we talked about the deck list originally. I've been testing with this leader on and off recording, and I still don't believe that this card is very, very good. He's okay. Perhaps the deck list that I've been playing against, I didn't get to utilize it as much as I wanted to, because we are playing against a lot of other OP09 leaders, more so than we're playing against decks like Jewelry Bonnie, for example, where she's got multiple cards on board that do reach over 5,000 power or more, which allows you to draw more. When I'm out here testing an OP09, I don't play against a lot of Jewelry Bonnies or any of these the older decks here, because everyone is trying to play Shanks and Blackbeard and whatnot. So in the matchup where you're going to be playing against Ludo Flamingo, this is a very, very strong card. Just in my testing right now, considering I'm not running into a lot of Dofi or a lot of Jewelry Bonnie, I don't get the opportunity to utilize this card at its fullest potential yet. So, once we get the new stuff coming out, tomorrow, my local shops, we house anywhere between 40 to 50 people on average on Sunday and Tuesday. So, I think I'll be running around into more Shanks players out there who will have a lot more intel when it comes to how they're building their list and stuff. So I'll come up with different and interesting packages and meta deck lists over here on the channel with a little bit more spice, as I normally do. Now, the other thing here is Roundtable. Don't knock it until you try it. This is very, very good with the setup with Newgate, allowing you to kill any card in the game, whether or not you need to remove a 10-cost Blackbeard or a 10-cost Shanks or Buggy or what have you. This combination has got you covered. It's very good and definitely throws your opponent off guard. Other than that, I do hope you guys enjoyed this deck list. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions down in the comments below. This has been Pawseplays. Remember guys, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe for your content when it comes to all things One Piece here on the channel. This video will be up early today because I will be going to midnight release for OP09. And then I will be doing a case opening, and I'll upload that here as well. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Good luck on your pools. I'm gonna head out.